I believe this one was the flag burning debate.
People go to these protests with these flags to remind the authorities that this is England.
But that does seem intimidating.
Why?
Because it's being done in a way, it's being waved flagrantly in a way to intimidate.
No, it's not.
Everybody on this side of the
Waving a flag to intimidate is crazy. Oh man, you gotta love the leftists.
This is England.
But that does seem intimidating.
Why?
Because it's being done in a way, it's being waved flagrantly in a way to intimidate.
No, it's not.
everybody on this side of the pond is looking in absolute horror at the state of speech in the UK. It's absolutely abhorrent. Every day there's a new monstrosity.
You've also got at the same time President Trump wanting to jail people who burn the American flag. What do you feel about that?
Are you allowed to burn one? Yes, of course you are, because that's part of what's great about this country. You have freedom of speech.
We have the Stars and Stripes, which men have died and bled for hundreds of years. Immigrants don't get to come here, many times illegally, and burn it on the cameras as part of a demoralizing system for the public. I don't think a single one of your family members fought for the right people to burn your nation's flag that they were fighting
Actually,
for.
I think they did. It says a lot about the national mood in the UK that the simple sight of national flags waving from lampposts and houses has become a major flashpoint. Operation Raise the Colours is a...
And shout out to my man Dennis. He says a normal political issue failed to become I'll give you that one. A normal political issue failed to become a far left weapon against Trump handling shit in the middle of views. Just gross of Dems, left power failing. I mean, I do feel bad for the Dems though, because I think this is about to cut deep for them. I honestly think they're about to lose like seats. Districts, like states that used to be blue, are just going to be predominantly red. And I'm talking about even in the inner cities areas too. I mean, like, look, bro, you got people in Chicago wearing Turn Chicago red shirts on. I mean, you know, you're effed up when you got people trying to literally go from Democrat to Republican. You know, you're effed up, because usually people like to, you know, trust a party that they've been with for a while, even if they do so foolishly. But if you got these people willing to go from Democrat to Republican, oh yeah, the Dems definitely effed up. Usually these guys just hope for a better Democrat, but now they're scared of hoping for that. They don't even believe that they're the better Democrat. Now they're just like, yeah, we need to go ahead and try the Republican. Yeah, but shout out to my man Dennis.
Mass movement of ordinary people flying, and in some cases painting, the St. George's Cross and the Union Jack across their neighborhoods. Many people see it as an act of patriotic defiance, a peaceful protest against an asylum system which just about everybody agrees is out of control. But others see it as a far-right dog whistle, organized and amplified by nefarious people who are fundamentally racist. The truth, as always, probably sits somewhere in between the two. More than 32,000 asylum seekers are living in British hotels at vast expense, with hundreds more arriving routinely on small boats across the English Channel each week. Brexit was supposed to take back control of the UK's borders, but migration has simply increased. People have every right to be unhappy about that and to protest peacefully. But daubing paint on war memorials and cars, scrawling racist slogans on a Chinese takeaway, that's wrong. And it's not who we are as a country, or I hope it isn't. There's no question that many people are fired up by what they're seeing on social media. Just as he's doing in the US, Elon Musk is driving vast amounts of traffic.
As I've been surfing the internet, I have been seeing a lot of, I would say extreme white nationalism, because white nationalism is not a bad thing. Extreme white nationalism is a bad thing. And these are the guys, I mean, who are like damn near separatists. They don't believe in race mixing. And here's the thing, I don't even think you really got to be a racist to not like race mixing. But these are the guys that kind of are a white-only type of group. It's not about the nation. It's about ethnicity first. It's not about like, it's like this. Think about Nick Fuentes. It's really not about America first with Nick Fuentes. It's about white first with Nick Fuentes. As much as he does say American first, he really means white Catholic first. And there's some people like that in England. Instead of England first, it's white Englishmen first. And now it's like this, I don't know, this very small group. It's a very small group of white people that's honestly trying to have extreme versions of white nationality. And like I said, being a white national is not a bad thing. Just like being a black national is not a bad thing. It's okay to be proud of your race and being proud of your country as well. That's perfectly fine. But when you have an extreme view to where you're just like, oh, well, we need to segregate ourselves from these people. We feel like we're getting attacked, so we got to go ahead and disrespect other people and their culture and all this good stuff. Yeah, that's where things get a little, like, I would say, out of hand. But hey, some people just can't be mature when it comes to those type of topics.
To his X platform with stories and stats which paint a vivid picture of chaos and danger caused by immigration. Prominent critics, including Bassem Youssef, say he's deliberately peddling anti-Muslim and anti-Arab hatred with no concern about whether the stories are true. And just as he's doing in the US again, Elon Musk is backing a new political party. Nigel Farage and Reform UK are, he says, weak sauce, and he'll be backing the newly minted Advanced UK instead. Well, tonight we're going to debate some big questions which are pertinent on both sides of the Atlantic. Is flag-waving populism a symbol of patriotism or prejudice? Does Western culture have a problem with Islamophobia? And is Elon Musk partly to blame? And can a brand new party, backed by the world's richest man, really transform politics in the UK and the US? Well, joining me for the first Uncensored of the new term, Cenk Uygur, CEO and host at the Young Turks, Andrew Wilson, host of The Crucible, Mike Benz, the executive director for the Foundation for Freedom Online, and the former State Department official, Ben Habib, leader of new party Advance UK, which is now backed by Elon Musk, and Ava Centina, political commentator with Joe. Well, welcome to all of you, a stellar panel to welcome us back on Uncensored in September here. I want to start, though, before we get into the main purpose that we got you all on, I want to start with this breaking news story today, which in many ways is, to me, symbolic of the mess that my country is getting itself into, not just on immigration and asylum, but also fundamentally about free speech.
I mean, there is no free speech in the UK. You can get arrested for making the wrong social media posts. And Lord knows, man, if that was the case, I'd have been arrested a long time ago in the UK.
The Father Ted co-creator Graham Linehan, one of the most popular comedies in UK TV history, was arrested today after arriving back at Heathrow on a flight from the United States. And he revealed in an online Substack article that officials became highly concerned for his health and his blood pressure raised to over 200 and took him to hospital. That's been confirmed by the police. But he says 5 armed cops seized him and arrested him at the airport. And why did they do that? Because in April, he did these 3 tweets, or posts as they're now called on X. If a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls. The second one, commenting on a picture of a trans demonstration, he wrote, a photo you can smell. The third one, I hate them. Misogynists and homophobes, fuck the M for them. Let me start with you, Ava. No one would dispute that the language he uses there is inflammatory. Yeah. He's a comedian, so he would argue he's being funny, but also making a mocking point about the massive issue of the last few years, about the issue of trans women in women's spaces, be it in sport, be it with safety, be it with equality. Is it right, in your mind, that he should be seized by 5 armed police officers on his re-entry to the United Kingdom? Do you feel comfortable with that happening to somebody for a few? Remember,
he's not a violent crime, no sexual crime, not even a financial crime. It's a speech crime, something that's foreign to us in here in America because, well, you're not allowed to be prosecuted for your speech. But in the UK, apparently, you don't got that same protection. That's literally when I say we are literally the freest people in the world, like it or not. And if you don't think so, well, hey, man, this is the best form of slavery that we got in the world, like it or not. Either way you want to flip it. It's either we're the freest in the world or the freest slaves in the world, however you want to put it.
Inflammatory,
I like to go with the freest people.
Comedically intended posts on social media.
I think you're going to be very surprised by my answer. And I would say that I don't think it's right that he has been arrested. I think that he has made a career out of being hateful. I think that what he does to that community is incredibly dangerous. And I worry about the trans men and women who have to experience the fallout of his disgusting tirades every single day. But it does scare me that he was arrested, and it scares me that people are being arrested for what they're posting on social media. And I think that the government here and the Metropolitan Police need to be clearer about what the parameters are of what you can and can't post online if they're going to legislate on it. I think the worry, though, is that many trans people don't know how to deal with the vitriol or the fallout after he's had one of his explosions. I mean, you can't sue him, you can't shut him up, but every single day they have to deal with the tirade that falls on them.
Well, his tirades, as you put it, are
Tough it
based
up.
on a firmly held belief by him that is shared by many other people.
I don't care about his.
Well, hang on.
beliefs.
Let me finish my point. The comments he makes, all right, they can be expressed in an inflammatory way, as I've said, but that actually underpinning it is his argument that the trans activist lobby, for want of a different phrase, but the activist lobby supporting trans rights has spent the last few years traducing and reducing women's rights to fairness, equality, and safety, and that it's actually actually the refusal to deal with that central problem, both in the United States, the United Kingdom, and other countries, that has led to such rage on behalf of women's rights.
The rage comes from trans people existing, which is what I find extraordinarily dangerous. You know, I work with trans people. Friends of mine are trans. You know, the sort of the danger and the vitriol that is spread across our tabloids every single day, I have never, ever experienced or seen. And honestly, I just think he needs a new bit. I think, you know, maybe it would be helpful for him if he wrote a new show or wrote a new play and just left these people alone.
Let me bring Andrew Wilson in here.
I mean, look, as much as y'all would want that, I mean, let's be honest. As sad as the trans situation is, there's also a little bit of funniness to it, too. I mean, come on. It's a bit funny that some dude thinks he's a woman to the point where he wants to leave his beard on, put on a full face of makeup, and wear a wig and say, ta-da, I'm a woman. There's something sickly hilarious about it. I'm just going to say, I'd say like that.
So Andrew, Graham Linehan, I'm not even sure if you're familiar with him, but he's one of the most successful comedy people in the country over here. But he's been at the centre of this debate for a long time with his very stark views about this trans issue. He's been bailed by the UK police, but only with the condition that he doesn't go on X. He wrote on Substack, in a country where paedophiles escape sentencing, where knife crime is out of control, where women are assaulted and harassed every time they gather to speak, the state have mobilized 5 armed officers to arrest a comedy writer. What is your response to that?
Well, his tweets are satirical in nature. It is comedy based. She's right. He shouldn't have been arrested, but she's also wrong in the fact that, look, people are done with the trans thing. They've had enough of it. This whole, they're just kind of regular people like you and me, but happen to dress up like it. No, that's not really what's going on. You've unleashed.
They've overplayed their hand on this one. I think even, like I said, Dave Chappelle made a joke about it. Like, he was telling the gay community before this all went down, you guys need to chill before y'all start losing shit. Is like, and I think I'm not sure how exactly the joke went, but he says, hey, basically the joke ended like, look, you guys start asking for too much and you're going to get less than what you ask for. Actually, we're going to start taking back stuff. And the trans is what Dave Chappelle was talking about. Y'all taking things too far to the point where we felt we got to take things back. And to the point where we got radicals on the far right who are trying to, pretty much do away with gay marriage. Do I agree with that? No, not really. But when you set them up for this, when you set them up with the whole trans ideology and how it hurts kids and how it's increasing the suicide rate in these individuals, I'm gonna be real with you. They can attack you at that point. And trans ain't really got nothing to do with gay marriage, but they'll use it against y'all.
An entire fleet of mentally ill lunatics on the public, and now we have to deal with the fallout of it. We have to deal with having to deal with these people on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people are sick of it. This guy is just echoing the thing which is in a lot of our minds, which is that, hey, we're kind of tired of these mentally ill lunatics in our streets. We really are.
Ava?
I find that really frightening. I mean, why would you say someone was mentally ill because they feel they were born in the wrong body? I mean, does that give you pleasure or joy to just stamp down on someone's, personhood? What's the intent?
Because they are mentally ill. I mean, I'll just tell it to her straight. Like, look, sis, I understand you have a heart for them, and so do I. I'm a compassionate man too. I'm a compassionate person. Like, damn. But I'm not gonna sit here and just say, like, yeah, they're not mentally ill when this is a man who wants to wear a wig, who wants to cut their dingling off to become a woman, something that he will never be. Of course, they're mentally ill. You're aiming for something that you can never be. Not a profession. I mean, shoot, like, you're not going for profession. I mean, you're not going for, I don't know, a trophy or something or an athleticism. No, you're going to try to be a different gender. Sorry, but the way God done coded this reality, you come out, look, what you come out, you're going to get put in the ground is. You came out a girl, you're going to put in the ground as a girl. You come out a man, you're going to get put in the ground as a man. Period, point blank. It's just the one thing that God didn't let us just flip around, even with the sex changes. And I always do say, man, Mother Nature has a way of biting you back in the ass. You can't outdo Mother Nature, okay? Even if you don't believe in God, let's think of genders, things as the rules of nature, right? Female plants and all that, animals and all that good stuff. No matter, it's funny how Mother Nature self-corrects. When you try to go from a boy to a girl, Mother Nature has a way of correcting you and making you grow hairs inside your constructed uterus, which is going to poke you. Now you're in agonizing pain. I know, right? It's just the way that Mother Nature corrects. And that's what happens to a lot of these, transgenders. A woman trying to become a man. I mean, trust me, nature's going to self-correct in a way that's going to hurt that transgender man.
And here.
Do you value truth? Because here's what.
Shout out to Mother Nature. I mean, you can't beat her. You can't beat her.
Truth, yeah.
Good. And here's what's true. What's true is that if you're a man, you can't be a woman. And if you're a woman, you can't be a man. That's what's true.
I don't think it's helpful to get into
Hang on. I'll let you talk, but let me finish. Your attempt to gaslight everybody into the opposition of this truth builds resentment. And it's that resentment that you have to deal with. And it's you have done it to yourself. Like most of these things, the left does it to themselves. It's very obvious. People are not going to accept this. The trans agenda has stalled, and it stalled out the LGBTQ agenda with it because you're trying to gaslight people into something which is obviously not true.
I think that, if you look just 30 years ago in the United Kingdom, we were treating gay men in the same way that we are now treating trans people. The mood does shift and the mood moves. And, I think that the stalwart belief here that we need to hold is that if someone does feel that they are born in the wrong body, it does not affect me as a woman if they decide that they are going to be a trans woman. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't change the rape conviction rate. It doesn't change the rate of assault.
Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, makers of the...
Hey, you know what? Respect. Like I say, I respect it. I know she's coming from a good place, but sweetheart, you're defending the mentally ill. It's better to get these guys help than to just feed into their delusion. It's like, come on now.
As somebody who's always, considered myself to be pretty liberal-minded, the moment this campaign started, for example, to allow trans women who are biological men and they become identified as trans women, okay, I've got no problem with people being trans. If they want to do that, I respect them. I want them to have rights to safety, equality, and the rest of it. But the moment somebody tries to persuade me that allowing biological men who identify as trans women to compete in women's sport against actual women with women's bodies, which are, because we separate the sexes and things like the Olympics, which we know are inferior in terms of power and strength, endurance, and so on, the moment people try to persuade me that is fair and equitable, I think they are absolute lunatics. And I'm not even sure they even believe it when they say it. So part of the problem here, it seems to me, and I'll bring Ben in here to comment on this, but part of the problem is that the trans lobby has brought a lot of this stuff on themselves. Right? If they had just gone about this in a different way and had simply fought equality, I would be absolutely leading the charge. But
cease to exist.
Well, hang on.
What do you want them to do?
I want them to have equality, safety, and fairness, but not at the expense.
I'm not. Maybe I am. Maybe I am trying to say yes. I want to cure the mental illness of trans. Yes, I want trans people to cease to exist and let them just be gay people. Why can't y'all just be gay? Come on, man. What happened to just being gay? That's all you really are. You're a dude who wants to mess with other dudes, but you want to do it looking like a woman. That's where the mental health part come in. But really, you just want to be gay. Just do that. A female, look, I don't know what it is, but for some reason you want to mess with a girl like a man, but you feel like you have to be a man to do it or cut your tits off to do it. You don't. Just be a lesbian. That's it. It's okay. It's okay. It's way simpler than this trans stuff, is it not? You don't got to go through no surgery. You ain't got to do too much. You just got to act the way you act. Be yourself without chopping your stuff off.
Of eroding women's rights. Ben.
Well, I agree with that. And fundamentally, the feeling that you're a woman when you're in fact biologically a man is a mental health issue. That's how it's defined. And of course, if someone wants to identify as a woman, even though they are a man, fine, that's their prerogative. But for the regulatory and legislative environment in which we now live, effectively to...
The man of debate, Andrew Wilson of the Crucible channel. I know this man be cooking. Shout out to Andrew Wilson. When it comes to cooking feminists and Marxists, I mean, hey, he's your guy. He's your guy.
Progressively discriminate in their favor, not for them to be equal, but for them to have the right to go into women's loos, compete with women in sport, go into women's prisons. All these things is an assault on the very form of liberalism that emancipated women and brought women to an equal footing with men. And now, in the pursuit of what I would call ultra-liberalism, we're setting aside women's rights. We've lost sight of common sense in our society. And what we've got to go back to is that commonsensical position. Just because a man identifies as a woman, that does not make him a woman. And he should not be allowed to infringe on women's space, personal
When was the last
spaces.
time that
Actually, I mean, it's no longer a question of opinion here, of individual opinions. The UK Supreme Court said this.
Exactly.
The British Prime Minister has finally come around to saying this. Let me bring Cenk in here. And Cenk, we've discussed this issue on and off for few years now. But what's happened to Graham Linehan here in the UK really disturbs me. You know, it's interesting because, you know, many people in the UK would consider Ben to be right wing. Some would say he's far right. I think that's an exaggerated term that's overused. But certainly I would not normally readily agree with somebody who's on the right about what I would consider a liberal issue. But here I do. And that to me is the most interesting part of this debate. The woke left have basically lost their minds to the extent that they want us all to sign up to disbelieving in science and biology. Here you've got a comedy writer who's been calling this out for years, now being arrested for clearly comedic. I mean, this first one, you know, make a scene, call the cops. If all else fails, punch him in the balls. It's an obvious joke. You might think it's crass. You might not want to laugh. But actually, the point he's making is that biological men should not be in women's spaces. What is your view of what's happened to this guy? I mean, J.K. Rowling, who's no friend of Graham Linehan, in fact, has had a pop at him a few times before, said, what the fuck has the UK become? This is totalitarianism, utterly deplorable. Elon Musk calls this he replied to her, it's a police state. What do you think of this?
Yeah. So as you know, look, I maybe some folks on here disagree with trans activists 95% or 200%. I disagree with them about 5% about professional sports. And nevertheless,
about professional sports, Cenk. Come on, bro. Don't fall into that losing position of thinking that it's okay for women to be in. I mean, it's okay for men to be in women's sport just because they put a wig on. Please don't make that position.
Been attacked just as viciously as anyone on this panel. So I get it, guys. I get that trans activists sometimes drive people away. First of all, they don't represent all trans people. Second of all,
they don't.
The bigger problem to me is the hatred that trans people are getting that is irrational. So this guy, when he does the tweets about the smelling and the homophobia and misogyny and all that stuff, I don't care. Those are just his opinions, and no one should ever be punished for their opinions, even if they're terribly obnoxious, right? When he gets into, hey, if you see a trans person in the wrong place, start screaming about them and maybe physically assault them, that depends on the laws in the UK. But if you're threatening violence like that in general, yeah, it might be something the cops should talk to you about. And having nothing to do with your opinions about trans people or anything else, it's just that you're threatening violence. And then this other guy, the dude with the beard here.
And shout out to my man Dennis. He says, I've met too many barely adults regretting this. Honestly, I have not. I know trans people, but I have not met anybody who went through like a full trans surgery. So maybe I just know the broke trans. That's what I like to call them, broke trans, because you can't afford the surgery. You know, you can't afford the choppy. So yeah, I've only like seen those before. I've never seen a full blown like. Actually, you know what? I'm lying. I remember in Atlanta, I seen one. In Atlanta, I seen one, and like my cousin's like she introduced me to the guy, trans woman, and because quite honest with you, I couldn't even tell. I could not tell. I was like, she's always he's trans, and I'm just like, but the Adam's apple. Oh yeah, they got a surgery for that. But your hips, like how? Yeah, they got a surgery. I have my hips broken in these sections. I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, look, dog. The surgery that they can go through to make themselves look as female as possible is crazy. That's why I say they're broke trans out here. If that girl ain't chop her dick off and remove her Adam's apple and break her ribs, she's a broke trans. Well, if that guy, I'm sorry if that guy ain't do all that. And that's what they're doing out there. I mean, some of them are going to the extreme to try to look like a female. So, hey, some of them putting their back into it, and some of them just think they can put a wig on with some eyeliner and then call it a day. But then some got to go under the needle.
I mean, okay, so this is a common thing that the extreme right does. Okay, in my mind, there is no such thing as feeling like a woman, and I agree. I don't have that in my mind either. That doesn't mean that other people don't. I don't know why that's such a hard thing for folks to understand. So you weren't born that way, but they were. You think they're just all lying? And why would they be lying? And this whole thing of calling people who don't think like you mentally ill.
I mean, come on, Paul. Really, cut me a break. So I'm just supposed to be on the lookout for trans. Like, really think about that. Come on now. Atlanta's full of beautiful women, beautiful black women, by the way. You think I'm looking around at trans? You think I'm looking around for trans people, dog? Come on now.
Is actually super stupid. It's literally unintelligent. Okay, so people think in different ways. They have different proclivities, including sexual proclivities and gender proclivities. If you can't understand that simple concept and you think anyone who doesn't think like me is mentally ill, there's actually something profoundly wrong with you.
All right, Andrew Wilson, there's something profoundly wrong with you.
Hold on now. I don't know, Cenk. That's kind of being disingenuous. You're saying that somebody have an extreme position on this right here. So you're pretty much saying have an extreme position on trans and just be not okay with it at all. You need to get your head checked. Come on now, bro. When it comes to the trans ideology, that's not fair to say. That's just wild.
Different proclivities, including sexual proclivities and gender proclivities. If you can't understand that simple concept and you think anyone who doesn't think like me is mentally ill, there's actually something profoundly wrong with you.
Okay, well, that I'll agree with. Okay, yeah, because there's some people who actually are like that. Dems and, well, Republicans alike. That if you don't think like me, there must be something wrong with your head. You must be crazy, racist, like some type of phobia, anti-Semitic, don't matter. If you disagree with somebody, they feel like you're just the worst type of person. And it is pretty crazy to have that view of people.
All right, Andrew Wilson, there's something profoundly wrong with you.
Yeah, sure. Well, nobody said.
I mean, shoot, it almost shows that some of y'all don't really go outside into the world. I mean, man. I mean, if you actually interacted with people, you would know that. I mean, nobody's views are exactly the same.
You
ever know that?
Yeah, what was articulated to you was something which is
it's actually kind of exactly what you said.
Well, yeah, what was articulated to you was pure logic. Pure logic, and I'll explain the pure logic. You have no comparison to make as a male for what a female does even feel like. That's how we know it's a mental illness, Cenk. It's really simple. It's the law of identity. I hope that you know what logic is, because that's what that is. It's the law of identity. You can't make a comparison for what it is to feel like a female, Cenk. It's not possible because you're not one. That's how that works. Stop trying to gaslight me. Stop trying to pretend that I don't know what a male is, what a female is. Stop trying to pretend that I don't know what mental illness is. The mark of mental illness is irregularities in behavior. That's how you know what it is, Cenk. How else would you even know?
Cenk?
So, okay, that doesn't make any sense at all, and it defies logic completely. So, first of all, you say, how would I know what's inside their heads? That's my point to you, brother. It just seems like you have trouble understanding simple rational reasoning. My question to you is,
how can you make a comparison?
How would you know what's in a trans person's head? You don't know what's in their head.
I do know what's in their head. They're a person, literally, it's pretty easy. So if they identify as trans, I kind of know what's going on in their head. They do not feel comfortable in their body. They don't believe they were born into the right body. Am I getting it right? Okay, then. So I do know what's in their head, and I do kind of know what their line of thinking is. Do I know them personally? Like, do I know their daily activities? Of course not. But I do have an idea what's going on in their head, especially if you're a trans woman. You're a guy who feels like they've been born in the wrong body, who feels like they need to express that through, I don't know, surgery or just, well, attire.
And what you're doing is a simple concept called projection. Hey, since I feel this way, you should feel this way. And then you start talking about irregularities. You know, there's a difference between, hey, someone is detached from reality and is committing violence. Okay, that's a mental illness, regardless of what their background is, right? But when you say irregularities in general, what is regular? And let me guess, you're going to claim that whatever you think is regular and everything else is mentally ill.
It's defined.
And then you call that logic? No, it's the last thing from logic.
How can you ever identify what mental illness was unless it was irregularity in behavior? It wouldn't even be possible. Not only that, you still didn't address the point.
It's
you
not
never
just
addressed any
irregularity.
actual point. But that would be the process for the identification of mental illness is irregularity in behavior. It's the study of the mind. That's what psychology is. Also, you didn't address the point. How is it that a male could have any comparative cognitive function to know what a female feels like? They can't. It isn't possible. You just said you don't know what's in their heads. Don't need to. I know it's not possible for a male to know what it's like to feel like a female. It's not a possibility.
Okay,
so you think every male?
I do. I know what's going inside their head, and it's a sad story. I mean, if they truly feel that way to the point where they feel like they're gonna die, they gotta commit suicide. They're gonna commit suicide if they don't get this body change or get a gender affirming care. Then yeah, I mean that's pretty sad, and we do need to tackle that instead of just like kind of leaning into it. But shout out to my man Dennis. He says, I talk people down from suicide with older views. I'm seriously worried about our younger generation. They expect being a woman when no. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It is sad that this is being perpetuated to younger generation that, oh, well, if you feel bad about being a guy, you don't feel comfortable here, you can be a woman. It's like, what? No, you're supposed to say, yo, deal with your insecurities, deal with the fact that life's not fair, and don't try to make it fair just by taking opportunity away from women. And that's what I say to the male athletes who's thinking about trying to go trans. What I say to the trans person every day, I would just say, look, if you truly respect what it is, women, then you're not going to try to cosplay as one. If you truly respect women, you're not going to try to cosplay as one. Because how could you dare try to cosplay as a woman when you don't even go through half of what women go through? Like naturally, women got to naturally deal with a period. There's plenty of blessings being a woman, but childbirth and a period's a motherfucker, okay, that we don't want to deal with. So shout out to you women for that. But isn't it effed up that some guy who don't got to deal with the pain that a woman, your average woman, has to deal with every freaking month until menopause, and you just get to skip that, and you expect to be treated like one as well, so you don't got to go through a period, you don't got to give no childbirth and adding to society, you don't have to have none of those magical features that make women women. You don't got to do that. Really? That's what I'm saying. If you really respect women, then you're not going to disrespect what a woman is.
Hang on, check. We're getting. I think we're getting.
It has nothing to do with masculine.
You get that that's an absurd.
But hang on.
Dork, you have no idea what you're talking about.
All right.
So there is no such thing as masculine or feminine.
Given that neither of you think the other has any idea what they're talking about,
my logic
literally nobody said anything about
we're drifting. Time out. Given that neither of you thinks the other one knows what they're talking about,
all I want to say is that, look, man, if you can't have a period, then I'm be real with you, dog. You're not a woman. You'll never be a woman. I'm sorry, bro. And not just the period as well. I know there are some rare cases that women can't have a period, but 9 times out of 10, let's be real. Come on now.
Even we're drifting away from, I think, the real core issue of this debate. Let me just try and wrestle it back here. Let me bring in Mike Bentz. Mike, it seems to me, putting aside what people think of trans people, I happen to think they're entitled to...
No, a trans woman, a.k.a. a man, cannot have no kid. Okay?
Exactly the same rights to fairness, equality as me, and safety. But not at the expense of eroding women's rights. But let's put that to one side. It seems to me this
there is no man at all There is no man that can become pregnant. Okay. Now there's trans men who can become pregnant. Trans men can become pregnant. Why? Because they're women. But no. So no. We're not even gonna pretend like that's a real thing.
This is a fundamental battle going on in the UK in particular for free speech, where we're seeing a number of people now who are being arrested. They're being imprisoned in some cases for articulating quite incendiary views on social media. But in the case of a woman who was jailed for, I think, nearly 2 years recently, that had just been released due to public pressure.
Actually, the trans thing is went too far. You know how I know? Because they have rectum babies. I know you're like, Set, what the F is a rectum baby? Look it up. Actually, you know what? I wonder if I could find it. A rectum baby. So it's a baby that goes up your ass, and you're supposed to, and that's how trans people act like they're having a baby, or that's how they're pushing a baby out. They have themselves a little rectum baby. I know, right? I know y'all probably didn't want to hear that, and my bad, but hey, rectum babies. Like, you see how insane that sounds when you guys got to put plastic babies up your rectum? Like, really?
She was articulating views, which she then, when she calmed down, because it was articulated in the wake of an appalling attack on young girls where 3 were murdered. She then realized the misinformation had affected her judgment. She deleted the post and then apologized. But despite that, got jailed. This was all within a few hours. She got jailed for nearly 2 years. Now, this strikes me as completely wrong. What is your view from a free speech perspective? US national debt is more than $37 trillion. These are uncertain times for the global economy. It's enough to make you think. Maybe now would be a good time to buy some gold. Whether it's a hedge against inflation, peace of mind during global instability, or just sensible diversification, Birch Gold Group believes that every American should own physical gold. They created something special. Until the 30th of September, if you're a first-time buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 in free metals on qualifying purchases. To start the process, request a free information kit now. Just text Piers, P-I-E-R-S, to 989.
Oh, yeah. What happened to your sheriff? There's powerful niggardry at work here.
Oh, my bad. Whole time?
End of September. Text my name.
Whole time I was muted?
989.
That's tough. See, I didn't even hear about the rectum babies. Y'all just seen it. That's tough. That's tough. But hey, it is what it is. All right. So he says, how much open the lines? Andrew is spewing misinformation. I got you, my man. The call-in line is open right now. I just posted the link in the call-in tab. I'm so bad at sending after. I have 2 comments to add. Thank you again. And shout out to Hellbat. There's a movement called the detransition movement for 2 minutes. Man, for 2 minutes, man. But my bad though. But yes, the rectum babies. I'm pretty sure y'all seen the rectum babies and was confused or like said, why are you showing these plastic babies? Like, what does this have to do with anything? And well, if you read it, which I'll read it out one more time for you, a prosthetic baby that can be inserted deep into the loving embrace of the rectum, where a trans woman can experience and celebrate the miracle of childbirth. And it's crazy how y'all try to minimize childbirth like it's like you're taking a shit. But okay now. All right, then. There we go. But all right, guys, let's get right back to it.
98. Claim your eligibility and get your free information pack. Again, just text Piers to 989898.
Well, I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free.
Yeah, and shout out Chase. Like, we didn't hear anything you said. You were muted. Ah, that sucks. That definitely sucks. Yeah, my bad, bro. My bad. But I guess I got distracted by the rectum, but